Jennifer's here and she says, hi. Hi, Jennifer. How are you today?
Hello. I could feel that bubbly energy of hers. Oh, Jennifer, by the way, this is Loki. We watched your video that you put, God in the Woods. I tried not to laugh with the way the reaction, but you filmed it. But I could feel the love, I could feel this. I'm going to do something at the river. And oh my gosh, I just could feel it. Then she fell. And everybody's putting, I couldn't stop it. Help but laugh, Jennifer. But I love that she posted that though. But her energy was wonderful though. It's wonderful.
Yeah. She says she's good. She's just washing rocks from the river.
Wonderful. Well, that is because she has so much of that spiritual connection to these. And I love that. That's because she's really embracing that. She's hearing God and she hears angels. She's just high vibrating.
Scott and I walked to the river. What day was that? Monday, I think. We walked to the river and we were watching all the kayakers and stuff and all the people having fun. And then this like girl like paddled over real quick and she just kind of sat in one spot and she just seemed to have such like, there's a grump energy. And then I finally like 15 minutes later, maybe this guy starts paddling in and they just went at it. You were floating next to that B word. I saw you float next to that B word and she was throwing beer cans at him and her paddle and trying to shove the kayak at him. And he was just like, babe, who, where? It was like, oh my God, there was so much drama at the river. So I see why she's washing the river rocks because there was some anger issues going on at the river.
Oh man, you have to watch what area in the river because if there's also, I know what was going on that energy right there because there is bodies underneath and they want to be heard, and when they're not heard, they go up in here, help, but they don't know how because it gets gargled in the water.
Oh wow.
Yes, that does happen. And the energy is felt by humans. And then because I bet when they got away from that, they were good, but it was just like that Bermuda Triangle anger.
So it was crazy. And it was like neither of them were moving from the spot. And it was like, please, someone like fix the situation. I like tried to pray, like, I hope they fix this stuff. But it gave Scott and I a lot of things to talk about because some of the things they told each other was so funny. It was so funny. Like, don't float next to that B word. So that's been like our thing. How dare you float next to that B word?
Look at that, the Cosmo.
Said, haha, I found some really cool stones. I got a bunch of quartz. Heck yeah. That's awesome.
She's very high vibrating. Well, of course, they came to her like, yeah, save us. So, yeah.
Like people that easily are drawn to the 4-leaf clovers.
David.
I've never found one.
Your mom?
Fake it with the 3 and the 1, like pull it off as one, but it would never work.
Your mom can find him and David can find him. And their birthdays are February 13th.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Or is it? Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about Dante's Inferno, which is a play written by Dante Alighieri, who was a 13th century Italian poet. He wrote the poem in a political climate kind of like ours. This is very cool. I used to watch this at like the Mud Show performed it at the Renaissance Festival, and it was always cool, but I never thought about it. But having read it and watching and studying for this, it really opened up my eyes to things I just didn't see before. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, this is still Loki, and this is very dear to my heart. This one here is very dear to my heart. And Angie and Michelle, I think, finally figured out why we were really encouraging this because I had a lot of mountain references and things, you know. So, but they heard us loud and clear.
Took us a while, but we got it.
Yeah, so we knew that as soon as the mountains and the whole numbers, and she goes, you guys, we're like, that's our guys again. But this is very dear to our heart, and this is a classic we want to bring back because it has so many lessons that everybody's asking right now, and this can go because it's very complicated, but you got to go past it. It's one of these meditations. You really got to sink it in. Yeah. You know, you can do spark notes or whatever, I guess, but this is really a meditation. This is really about taking the information in and really just taking it in, because Angie's got some wonderful insights, and I can tell you my being Loki's insights as well too. And because there's so many different ways you can take this. And please, if you have any insights on this, please put this below, because there's so many different ways people can interpret this.
Yeah, perfect. So do we want to just start with, I guess, a kind of quick synopsis of what's going on?
Yes.
So if you're not familiar with Dante's Inferno, Dante is the lead character in this, and he has a guide that comes to him named Virgil. Side note, Virgil wrote the Aeneid, so it was another classic, and he was another poet. So Dante looked up to him. So there are a lot of people in this story that Dante either looked up to or did not. And they are used as examples in these 9 layers of hell. Is 9 layers, right?
9 layers of hell,
Yeah,
yes.
9 layers of hell. So this guide is going to take him through each layer of hell until he reaches the other side, which is the Purgatorio, and then the last one is paradise. So this is like Dante's Inferno is like your spiritual awakening here on earth. It's when you start to see people in their sinful nature and how they're being punished over and over and over again for it. You start to see these patterns that people aren't willing to break. And as you go deeper and deeper, like you said, it's like that onion you talk about. As you go deeper and deeper, you get closer and closer to your heart. All that fear, all that stuff, that Satan, you have to deal with that stuff to break free from this. So this is going to be awesome. I say, buckle up. Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for this.
I don't know if I buckled in the wrong place. Oh no, did I buckle in?
Oh
Yeah. No, we caught it. We clicked it. We're ready. We're ready.
no. You clicked it.
I clicked it. I heard it. Click.
Okay, so before they start, there's like the door, and it says, abandon all hope, you who enter here. Woo! Which, for real, if you're about to partake in a spiritual journey, it's rough. It's scary. It's crazy. It's chaotic. It's wonderful. It's everything. It's a lot. You have to be prepared. But no, Virgil is with us. Our guide is with us. This one that knows better, that knows the path, that knows the way, that's done it before, that goes with us through all of this. It didn't leave us until a new guide came, which you guys have shown us too. So our first circle is limbo. And Dante said the people in limbo were people that were baptized, or they were just kind of charlatans, and they were struck with grief from a lack of God's presence. They also said it was people that didn't choose good or evil, that they're just in limbo. They're just kind of stuck there. They're stuck in between everything, and they regret it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so you could also put this in modern times as so to people that have been baptized, and they will ask, well, should I get baptized again? Because when I wasn't really familiar with what I was getting baptized with.
Yeah.
It is being a, like you say, Christian or whatever, studying God or whatever you're studying, but you're not practicing the word. You're just bragging that I go to church and look what I can do, but you're not really following any of the rules. So here is a lot of people questioning the faith. When you're in limbo, you're questioning your faith, but you're not really going to pursue it. But this is part of your spiritual awakening. You need to find out, what is it that I believe? Who is it that I believe? Is it Buddha, Sri Krishna? Is it God? Because all will take you to the source. It is not, you don't have to just, your God is not sitting there saying, you choose me only. You got free will. You have all these wonderful teachers and they're not replacing him. He knows that they're not replacing him. Logically, he knows that. But he knows they're all there to lead to him. He knows it's all going to lead to him anyway. It doesn't matter which path you follow. Even if you, I'm going to say, if you follow Lucifer, you're still going to find a path. And it's okay if you go, well, I follow Lucifer. Well, if you know Lucifer, the way I know Lucifer, I know him. He, aspect here. He is a teacher of wisdom, and he will lead you back to the divine. He's the morning light. So please remember that he's the morning light. He's not the fallen angel. But he will lead you. But if that is your path, and that is where, and that's okay, he will lead you back to the light. It is wherever that your teachers, Sarah Prout or whoever, my example is just, it could go endless teachers, and it's a path. So this is limbo. It is you just discovering, if I need baptized, is my religion right for me? And if it's not, where do I go? Well, you'll be led to where you need to go. If you're watching this, we're getting a seed planted in you right now, and you're going to figure out, okay, so where's my first step? So this is like step one, discovering who you are through what teacher will be my guide. Like Virgil is your spirit's guide, your wisdom guide, like how we are here, Loki and, well, me, Loki, Locaus, and Marcus, we're all the guides in Cosmo. We would actually be Cosmos as well.
Yeah.
So, but just that's Virgil would represent us, helping you just find your way. And limbo is just helping Dante figure out, where do you stand personally? And then that's where all your spiritual awakening starts, is who am I? Where do I start?
Yeah. Perfect. The second circle that they go to is for the lustful. And the punishment of the lustful is to be blown about by endless wind. So there's never ending wind being pushed against the lustful.
Right. Well, that is the accepting your, how do you look at people? How are you looking at your opposite? Like, for example, are you transgender? Are you bisexual? Who are you? Like this? How do you show yourself to the world now? Now you have a spiritual teacher. Now it's discovering who are you, and you say, well, what difference does that make? Well, that makes a lot of difference. Are you in like bad relationship? Like, are you married to a man and you like having this bad relationship? Well, what is your part in it? You have to accept your responsibility. I mean, maybe he's an alcoholic or whatever, then you have to make these choices to leave, because spiritually, is it right for me to do? Did your sexual lust or whatever, which is all it means is you didn't have love at some point in your life, and sex is a way to answer this for man or woman. I'm not saying it's always, it's either. And I'm not saying that is what your marriage is based on, but 90% of the time it is what it is. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you need to accept, why am I really here? Maybe you find out I like men and I'm in a wrong relationship with them. You need to let that person go. And that can happen too, right? Happened over here. She's non-binary. She wants to be the man. He and her ex wanted to be the man. Well, now they get along because they realize she's not the woman she wants, but he gets along with her now that she gets, and she's saying, hey, look at me. I'm more like the equal man, because he wants a feminine role. And that's okay that he wants a feminine role. She's just not that. So maybe that could be you. It's just discovering who you are. And sometimes she is 50 and discovered this. She was 49 when she discovered this. So you could be at any age and discover this. And maybe, and it's also looking at you. Is it childhood, inner childhood? What is wrong with you? When I say what's wrong with you, and it's like you just filed it wrong. And we just got to find the file. And we need to figure out why do you like to go out and have sex? For what reason? Do you feel in control or whatever? Do I watch porn too much or whatever? And by the way, if you do, it's okay. You're not going to hell. And I hear a lot of people say this. It's okay if you do. I'm not saying, you know what I mean, but I'm just saying, if it is a problem for you, then address that. But it's just your nature. Just take a look at that. The wind is blowing your identity. Who's your identity? That's all the wind is doing, is blowing your identity. Who is that? And who are you, and how you show in the world? If you don't want to be treated like a whore, for example, well, then what are you doing? What is it? It's because there's something you're putting out, and maybe you don't even know that's what you're doing. You need to kind of look inside. I'm not talking about younger girls in 13. I'm not talking about how old men pray. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you're 20s and up, and maybe, like where these men just hit, well, what are you putting out? And as same with a man, what are you putting out? Because if you're with this kind of woman, there's something you're putting out that is not what you want. You're just some kind in your mask. Then that's where you have to go within that personal second layer of your onion, and you have to see what is it that I am showing the world that is not me. Because spiritual nature, who is that? It can be anybody. It don't matter. Who is that you're trying to show the world? Who are you wanting to be? What's the best version of you? Perfect. So that is kind of where and that's what's going on, is you need to understand where are you at here, and what are you showing the world.
Perfect. The third level was gluttony, and it had people being bombarded by rain and hail and black snow. None of these really sound like fun.
No, because it's not fun, and because going through each of these layers, it isn't fun.
Right.
Well, because gluttony can stand for a lot of things, not just being overweight, and it's not just, it can stand for many things in your life, but Gluttony is just, taking a look at yourself. Maybe you do need to change your nutrition. Maybe you need to go to the doctor and get some more checkups. Maybe you need to take better care of yourself and exercise and go out instead of woe is me, go out and help other people, because you wouldn't have time to worry about all your problems if you're out helping other people.
Absolutely.
So really that's what gluttony is saying. It's just addressing, however, if you don't like how you look, then change that. But spirituality isn't about how you look. It's about your mind, your glutton. What gluttony is also, if you feel all these things, then yes, please do something, address that. But gluttony is also what's in your head and what do you need to get out? What's the garbage that you feel like it should be there and it's holding you back? So let's get rid of our garbage as well. It's not helping you out at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The fourth level was hoarders and spenders, and they were pushing boulders until they crashed into one another, and then it was reset, and then they push their boulders into one another, and then they reset because they're doing the same thing over and over again. So talk about that.
Right. Well, and that's just saying basically you're hoarding something within in your mind, in the physical. And when it's also talking about you should not have attachments. Spiritual, we don't have attachments. You don't attach to people. You don't attach to items, because you come here alone, you leave here alone. So these attachments that these humans that you feel like you got to have are not necessary. And that's what this hoarder is trying to represent. The things that you feel you need, you don't need. It's just like, show it like, you don't need it, but so you fight and say, well, the human says I need it, and the ego says I need it, but the spiritual says, Virgil is saying you don't need this. And as well, when Dante's going down with Virgil, Dante's feeling bad for these people, but Virgil is saying to him, then I know you feel bad for them, but you basically, you're saying God's would be wrong if you're sitting there feeling bad for these people. You have to understand the punishment. So basically he is saying, you can be compassionate, but you're not going to help the issue by trying to go in there and do the woe is me. This is kind of what they need to go through. This is stern love. And he's basically telling Dante, this is stern love. I mean, you don't see it. You're seeing it from the outside looking, you're not knowing it, but if you're really in here, you would see more of the story. Yes. So if somebody is doing that, there's more to their story than what you're seeing. Yes, help them, but stern love is going to get them farther than you just sitting there, always here it is. I will hug. Sometimes that's not the answer. Sometimes it's stern love that you've got to put forth. And that's the best answer. And that's also what's going on within Virgil's descent, right, as well with Dante. That's what he's trying to teach Dante.
Yeah. And I lost it. Okay. Crap. The fifth level was for the wrathful and the sullen. So that was the river Styx, which was neat because Dante was the only human, the only living being on this boat. So he was on a boat full of spirit, and they were all like at him, and he didn't like it. He didn't like his stuff. It didn't make him feel comfortable at all.
How many situations have we been and we're not comfortable? We're not comfortable at all. We just can feel somebody's energy and that's spirits. They don't like discernment. You were talking about discernment. Right here is where discernment comes through. Dante's learning discernment. Yeah. He's learning it because he probably never knew what the hell does this mean. He's getting first lessons on discernment. Yeah. Right here. And a lot of humans need to understand discernment as well. And getting familiar with energies, because if you always say, I'm looking for my highest good, I'm looking for information for my highest good, for my highest sources, for my highest guidance, you're not going to get this lower vibration. But if you don't say it, anything can come through and give you advice. And let's say that's happened. If something is saying anything against God, if anything is saying anything that is belittling you, it is a low source and it's a spirit messing with you. And you have to, and it's easy. They're not stuck on you. So don't freak out. All you do is simply say, Archangel Michael, just have them disappear, leave, cut that cord to get them to go. And it's easy because you're human. They don't have any right in your body. Nothing can enter your body unless you give it permission to enter. They cannot just enter in here unless you've said, come on in. No, they cannot do that. Come on, it's all right. No, this is your body and this is your free will. They cannot enter you. And you got more dominance. Dante's learning, I've got the dominance over the spirits.
Absolutely.
Yes, but it freaked him out.
add too with discernment. If we are in the middle of a situation, if we sit and silence ourselves, the possibilities of what is about to happen present themselves to us.
Mhm.
I wasn't aware of this until recently. I had weird feelings about a situation I was in years ago. And I just found out that my weird feeling would have been correct. And it really made me realize it, how many times that has happened, that my stomach is weird. Why is my stomach weird? Like I got the butterflies on my stomach. Is it good or bad? Sit and listen to it before you act on anything. Sit and listen to it. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What do you think might happen if you go through with this thing? It is showing itself to you to prevent it from occurring for you. It's trying to spare you this consequence. So I wanted to throw that out there.
No, that's very important because it's going to tell you, you just got to sit in that.
Yes.
And if you like, before you would even ask a question to us, for example, and I'm glad you mentioned this, Angie, if you have a question and, you probably, when you've asked a question, you probably already know the answer. You're just looking for the validation. Well, let's say we're not saying exactly what you're saying, like, okay, well, I didn't see that. Well, then you sit in your silence. Well, why would they say that? What am I seeing? And who am I talking to that could be giving me this advice in here? That could be discernment, because we come from the highest forms of information. You might go, well, Loki, you're not. Yes, I am. If I'm part of Lazarus, I'm part of the divine. Yes, I work in a different way with the divine, but I am of a high energy, and so, but you got to make sure it's of the highest information. So please, we're getting the highest. Angela and Michelle are getting the highest information because we are the highest sources. So if it's not agreeing with what you're seeing, well, then you need to be maybe questioning. And I will also throw this out as well. If we give advice, we really want you guys to all, you can go to any other teacher. You can go to any other, we don't mind, but if we're going to do something, we're not going to charge. People out there are going to charge for the things I do for free.
Yeah.
And please check certificates. Please check if they say they're a shaman, healer, or whatever. Please check certificates. Please make sure, because humans, unless you have been, it's like 30 years, and then please, it's not under an online school. Can you do this? This takes very many years and lifetimes. I am a shaman and a healer, and this aggravates me. I see this. People coming out as witches, they come out as this, and they don't have no business doing this. Please check the certificates. Please check the information, because I do this for free. I'm a shaman, and whatever work I've done for you, it can just go out the crap for somebody else that's inexperienced. And I'm just throwing that because it's also discernment here, is understanding humans' discernment as well.
Yeah.
So I don't have to show, and Michelle and Angie are not shaman healers. I am. And I would not teach them this, because this information, it's, if you don't do it right, you can hurt the human. So that is all I'm going to throw out, because it's also discernment. And I'm just throwing that because I see a lot of this online. I see a lot of this on Facebook or whatever, on Instagram, your Twitter, everything. And I just want to put this out to people. So please keep an eye on that. If it don't feel right, it probably isn't right. So follow whatever you feel, but sit, like Angie said, sit in it, and it all present itself to you, what's right and what's wrong.
Absolutely. The sixth layer is the city of Dis, where heretics were locked in burning coffins. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
No, but what would you, that's what they would do in the days. And if you're just putting information that's false information, you're trying to close the door of this information. So you got to look at yourself. Am I putting the right information out, or am I not? Am I putting out the same thing that I just said? Am I advertising something that I cannot do, or I'm going to hurt somebody? Or do I really do this? Before these girls went out, they made sure, one, we were who we said we were. They did not just come out and say, we're just going to go out now. No, they did not. It took them a long time of discerning us, to figure us out. And then when they felt that they're saying the truth, this is time, this is when we went out. Then that's what that is. They were looking at everything to make sure before we came out and we're giving anything information, it was truth, because that's what these girls go, is truth. And that when we do speak truth. So this is just saying, when you're speaking, are you doing it in truthful manners? Is it divine? And if you're teaching, is it your ego teaching? Are you doing it for money? Are you doing it for financial reasons, and you don't really care about this other person? You just more looking at the finances? Or are you looking at they really, the heart, and this is what you're doing. So just taking a look back, Virgil's just saying, hey, when you're doing your work, how, like if you're a priest, and are you doing it for the right reasons, or are you just your ego and all the parishioners and they're yours? No, they're not. They're God's. You're just there to teach them the word. So it's all about your ego. Where's my ego in the spiritual business here? Yeah. And when I want to do this, it's like taking that your time, discerning your information, and you're going to teach it, keeping your ego out of this information. So that is what the girls did for a long time, was stepping the ego out, trusting us to come forth. And that's when the messages came forth, because if they've done this for a long time, it was getting to know us, the information they were going to teach was truth. So that was the layer that you were going through on the spiritual journey of your spiritual awakening, was this.
Yeah. And that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard because all this stuff was crazy. Our parents didn't want to hear about it. Everybody thought we were talking to devils, that we weren't smart enough. They didn't understand discernment. Why are these two hillbilly girls getting these information? No one understood it. No one liked it. But you and I really worked together. Are they devils? They don't seem like devils, and reading all this stuff, and all the stuff they said was true. We didn't want to be on camera. We didn't want, none of this was something we wanted to do. It was just what was presenting itself to us to do. And I was so over who I was to who I became, that I wanted to come out and be like, dudes, this shit's real. I can't believe it. This shit's real, everybody. Oh my God, Yeah.
And this is Michelle, and he's telling me what, well, I still get that though. I still get like with Dave, okay, and his family. Well, his sister works at the Renaissance Festival, and by the way, I do love her, but she loves Loki. She's got wolves that protect her. Well, you don't channel Loki. Well, how does he know this Norse information? I'm like, me and my sister have every aspect of Loki. So he doesn't concentrate on the Norse because he's told me before, as he's told you, that's not his role here. If somebody else wants to know the Norse Loki, they can get to know it. But he said, oh, this is not what he's, the shaman, the healer, the parts that nobody wanted to really, he said that discarded garbage parts of himself is the parts he says, but I feel they're very divine and loving, but yet he will say that. But that's what's true. I still get that. And Kenny told me yesterday, if you talk to my counselor, please don't mention you channel. I get that all the time. We get mom and dad said, don't channel on vacation.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, but that's going to happen. If somebody on the bus needs us, we're going to channel and we're going to do what's right for these people. I'm not going to, and like, that's for us. That's our thing. We've made a vow. If somebody needs us, if mom and dad don't like it, that's for them. It's for whoever. So if somebody on the bus says, I need Blue Heavens, we're going to be bringing them out and we're going to be Blue Heavens for them, because
that's what God wants us to
that's
do.
what God wants.
Right. And that's
what God wants.
Important than our earthly father.
Absolutely. So yeah, then that's what we still go through that. Even today, we're still get that, but that's okay. We know we're good with that now. It's like if somebody says that, it's like you go still, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay because we know them.
And we don't charge a lot, and we donate a third. And those things also will, I think they've set us up to remain humble.
Mm-hmm.
And to have our hearts in it. It's been set up from the beginning. They always said donate a third, like that's just how it is. Don't ever change it. Don't make excuses for it. That's what it is. Someone gives 100, a third goes. And that will always have our heart in it to try to help our ego shut up. Because again, this is hard. At what point do you start seeing these people as your people, not God's people? I don't want that. I know Michelle doesn't want that.
No.
We try really hard to understand we're not really doing anything. We're showing up in spirits, helping.
I'm just a vessel. Like we're just vessels, and we just show up, and they do the message, and that's my part. And this main is to have a healthy body, my voice, make sure it's not foggy, and that's pretty much what I do. And that's beautiful. I'm good with that. So
Destiny's here and said hello, my friends. Hello, Destiny. And
Destiny.
I wanted to throw this out here real quick. Jennifer said she understands completely about the people not understanding the things we share in our awakening. She feels insane daily, but knows that she's not. Yes, and that is hard. My husband didn't get it. No one got it. Michelle and I didn't get it. We didn't have anybody. I found a lady on YouTube that kind of helped sometimes, and we had enchanted moments, but not like this. Like they didn't really get it either. So yeah, it's hard.
But the guides know, like Virgil knew to help Dante through all of the questions he was going to have. That's what Lazarus and each of the three have helped us figure something out when nobody would hear us. They're the ones that came forth and would give us, and what they do, they show us where to go. We get the information and then they can go more into it because we wanted to pick up on the information ourselves. So that's what they did for us to prove time and time again, this is who we are. So they knew we weren't insane. And they know that when they were here, they were thought of as insane. You could hear Marcus. That's why he don't like the Buddha. You hear him talk about Buddha.
Yeah.
Well, you know why he don't like it is because it was hid from him. He said all of the heartache was hid from him, and he thought that was very not he wasn't allowed to discern for himself. He had to find out the hard way and learn the lessons the hard way and fall into it like that. So he understands a lot of, and all those teachers, they understand. So, and they know that they weren't believed. Nobody believed. Loki still goes through. Nobody believed. He's nobody but a Marvel character, and that's not true. Or he's just Norse, and they just fall under that. But people don't try to look at him more than that. So as well, but they know how to teach us and teach all of you because they understand. Like Jennifer, Destiny, anybody that joins us, they understand where you're coming from and can help that.
And you guys need to learn to talk to your Virgils, right?
Absolutely.
Humans aren't getting the contact with your Virgils. I know Destiny's getting into contact with Raku. You're starting to piece your connection together. Jennifer, I'm sure your piece and your guide's connection together. That helped Michelle and I immensely to know where Virgil was there.
Right, and that's exactly. So I'm gonna bring Loki back.
Perfect.
I'm back.
Said sometimes showing up is hard AF. So thank you still. I'm trying. Heck yeah, you got this. It's cool. So our next level was a plane of fire, and it had all the violence. So, and towards the end of this, I do feel you do get angry and you do see all the violence, and it starts to affect you. It really starts to affect you very deeply. You've gone through all these layers. You've made these changes. You're seeing who you are. You're seeing through the illusion. And now you're seeing how violent everything is, how animalistic, how messed up people's hearts are, that they think they're on the right side and they are not. And it hurts. It hurts to be on this level.
Yes, Loki, and it does. You described it to a T. And doesn't that sound like your society nowadays? Everybody's at this part of their spiritual awakening and they have no idea which way to go. And a lot of people will stop right here. Yeah. They just stay angry. So if you've ever met just an angry human, this is kind of where they're at on their journey. And this is also very good to look at people, and you're talking to somebody, where are they at on their Dante's Inferno? Where are they at? That's how I always know when I'm talking to everybody, because I'm a shaman. I understand where you're at. If you like, I get a lot, and I love this, is you don't know where I'm at, or you couldn't know how I feel. I understand, trust me. I'm in the 9 layers. I have not left Inferno. I'm the one that'll never leave the Inferno. The Purgatory, well, you think about it. I would be the Inferno. Wouldn't Locaeus be the Purgatory, and wouldn't Marcus be your paradise? Well, exactly, because that's what we represent. And that's divine. Is the way to, it's what it's just like you go through Loki, then you go through Locaeus, but then when you get over here, you're going right to Marcus. And that is where everybody wants to achieve, is go right over here where Marcus is at. So when we're teaching so you'll notice the teachers in the Inferno will be me, because I'm in this layer and I'm not going to come out to this layer. But because the beautiful part of me being in this layer, I know how to help you and I know what layer you're at. Let's get you out of this layer. But like Angie, you are 100% correct. I love this human perspective here, because I don't understand that part. So that's beautiful. If you're angry, this is where you're at. And this is the part you don't want to address. You don't want to address this part in you, but this is the part you got to get through to get to the other 2 layers. It's darker, more sadder, more angry, because now you're going to all the memories you blocked wherever this happened. You don't want to deal with this now, and you're just done with it. You don't want to do this anymore. But you stay angry and you're not serving yourself a purpose. You need to keep going down to the other 2, but you got to get through. This one is, I feel, one of the hardest ones to get through, is this angry, this fire, because that fire is you and how you see the world, because you see the world is now your enemy. Now, it's not your enemy, but that's how you're perceiving in your mind. Because when you get heart, it's the world against you. It is not the world against you, but that's where you filed it. It's just, we got to find that file, take it out, and just redo the file and file it under the correct thing, and then you'll be good. It's a pattern we need to break, and that's all it is. But Beautifully said. This is one of the hardest parts of spiritual awakening, is that part.
It is. It is. Ugh. The next one's kind of difficult too. It's for the fraudulent, the false prophets, liars, deceivers, people that just weren't authentic. They were, man, oh man, talk about this.
All right. Well, this is where you were talking about Angie earlier. You're talking about all the people that when you look at them, you feel the lie coming from them. This is when you start looking at your world and seeing the people for what they are without that mask on. This is when you start wanting to understand why. The why are they like that? Why are they angry? And all this is address it for you first before you address it on them. It's like take the log out of your own eye before you try to address it on them. And but you start feeling like the world's against you now. For real. Now you're angry, but now you can hear the lie. Like, what if you're watching television and you see this? And I'm only using a preacher because of the label would be religious, okay? And I'm not for any other purpose. I'm not downing preachers, but I'm saying if you are watching and there's a preacher and you go, wait a second, he's not speaking the truth and he's not for God. It's just like a wake-up call to you. Like, all this time I have followed this person and this was not truth to me. And or you start watching the news and you go, well, this isn't exactly what I was thinking. Or you read a Facebook post, because I noticed Michelle will do this. And she goes, well, that's not authentic. That's not true. I don't see truth. And that's when it all starts kind of hitting you. And you go, well, the world's different than what I thought. Because you're starting to take the discernment, opening your eyes to it and seeing the lies. You're seeing the people's mask take over. You go to a church maybe now, but you don't see the same people that you saw before. Now you're seeing the hypocrites, the liars. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if this was your thing and you went in there all lovely and just like that, but now you're going through spiritual awakening and now you go, well, maybe the river's where I need to go. Maybe I need to go somewhere else to do my worshiping. Maybe this is not the place for me. And that is to shake you to a better, higher place, to get to know Jesus personally and God personally, or Buddha, Sri Krishna, whoever in your way to lead you to God. How do I get to him? Where is your mountain steep? How do I get here? And that is what this is. It's just taking the people that are not for you. It's going to bring you down, making bad choices, bringing you down. And you're going to have to let go of these people. Either they'll let go of you or you must get rid of them for your journey to keep going. Otherwise, it's going to be in the same funk and you're never going to move forward. So this is just a very important one, a very hard step for a lot of people. They lose a lot of friends and they go, this is what's going on.
Yeah. And Miss Cleo's got something to say again.
Oh, wow.
Really? Come here, Miss Baby. I want to say too, at this part of a spiritual awakening, you really start to, it's hard. I started to change my foods. Like I started to see which foods were kind of lying to me. They weren't feeding me what was good. I started to see it everything. Like I stopped eating McDonald's. I started to get weird vibes from McDonald's and I just like, I can't eat there anymore. And it is weird. The visions you start to get, like the universe starts to tell you who's a liar and who's false and what's not good for you. And it can be overwhelming. I remember that scaring me, all this stuff. I felt like I was being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need, I guess you need to know you're not being attacked, but it does feel like that. It feels like the world is attacking you and that it has always attacked you. And it's a scary place to be.
It is. And that is where places like this is a comfortable place to go because you can be heard here. And also here, people don't feel like they're being heard. And that when you're in this state, you don't feel you're being heard. And I will just let people know, because if you're watching this applies. If you're talking to people and they don't seem to hear you, or there's information on above, they're not where you're at. You're vibrating at a higher vibration, and they're just at a lower vibration. They're just not where you're at. Don't worry about that. Either they will catch up, or they're just not going to pay it, or understand. But and they don't feel heard. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and a lot of these people, like their punishments were like they were in human crap and being whipped by demons and just all kinds of stuff. But again, this also shows you get spiritually punished. Like the Bible talks about punishment. This is what it means. Your spirit gets punished. Your human body doesn't get punished. Your spirit gets punished, because that's the thing that's learning. So our old souls probably went through some intense punishment and years of punishment. to get to where we are now. So we can't look down on other people that are being punished because they just don't know better yet. And that's another difficult part of the spiritual awakening, is to not start judging people that don't have open eyes.
Absolutely. Well, you're right, because I've been through so much punishment, and I could tell you from 4 planets, all of it, and it has not changed. It is the same over and over. This is a great time. I'm going to use this example over here, because this is why I have not left my spot. Maybe people are curious, why, Loki, why do you stay in this spot? The whole, the realms, why haven't you left? Because divine's right there, but you just don't want to go. Well, do you know how the divine will give you humans, but they'll also, for the deities as well, give us a sign. Now, I don't talk to Odin. I've made that quite clear. I don't talk to Odin. There, you had a storm, and it was the day you girls were supposed to go to the restaurant. Okay, I got a bad feeling. I got a horrible, horrible feeling. And I went out, I heard David say, can you hear the silence in the air? I heard Odin say to me, you heard that before, haven't you, son? And they didn't hear you then. And I didn't pay attention. She called, so her dad calls, and he said, well, we're going to go ahead and go. Michelle said, well, I don't feel like Loki's saying we shouldn't go. Oh, whatever with Loki, we're going to go. That's what he said to her. And again, she goes, well, I don't feel I'm being heard. Odin said, again, that was not the message. We're not trashing your dad here. The message was we were supposed to get it first. I didn't get it the first. When I was in Atlantis, I was in the storm asking for people to please listen to me, and they did not hear me. I told them, as a high priest, they're going to die. It was silent, and that's what it looked like. The message was, you were going to be okay. The message was, to me, I didn't feel heard. When I'm in this space here, I feel I'm being heard, because at that point, I still feel responsible for the millions of people that died, and I could not save them. I watched people die, and it was not fun to watch. It's not fun to watch people you have taught, and they didn't want to hear you because they knew more than you. They were going to save themselves. I'm not trying to say I was trying to be anybody, but I believed in the great one. I believed there was so much more, but they didn't want to hear what I had to say. They were going to do their own thing, their own one. This is where there was free will, by the way, with Atlantis. There's free will, by the way. And they didn't want to hear what I had to say. They had their own opinion of what was right. My opinion did not matter at this point. They'd hear me when it was working for them, but it was no longer going to work for them. They didn't hear me in the storm, and they died. This is why I take this. I won't leave this area of my life, because I take that. Odin is reminding me, this is what you do, You did not feel heard. Sometimes I feel she feels like right now she's not being heard, but her vibration is here. And everybody, and I'm not saying everybody's here, that's not a bad thing. It just means everybody catches up at their own time, and it's okay. It's all right. It's not a big deal. I felt not heard. This is why I'll never leave. This is my own, the spiritual punishments you talk about. I've gone through every single one of these. Personally, I've gone through these. Don't they sound familiar? I have gone through all of these. I live in this hell all the time. But I know if I don't say in this hell, I'm not going to help somebody else get out of their hell. Because what if I was louder? And Odin said, what if maybe you were louder? Do you think that would have worked? He goes, no, they got free will to think for themselves. And they want to hear what they want to hear at any given time. But the real believers would have followed me. And you know how many people believed me? 5 out of about 1 million. 5. But they lived. But the rest didn't. And I don't want this for this race. When we speak, we want you to learn, because I don't stay in my depth of hell. This is to save you all. This is to save you to go to better heights in your life. Like Angie said, you had lives where you've already been punished. Don't repunish yourself. That's why I do soul retrieval, so you don't have to go to these triggers anymore. I do soul retrievals that could almost kill me, have messed me up, but I'll do it for a human to make sure you never go where I'm at. And when I say that, I mean that from the bottom of whatever heart I have here. That's what I mean. And that is why I stay where I stay, was because of that storm. But please watch for signs like this. You will hear, like, Odin was my Virgil. He had to tell me, why do you do what you do? To keep me humble. Don't get an ego. Why do you do? And then I heard that. I felt that. If you notice, Michelle's a little on the birthday dinner. It was because she was feeling my confusion of going back to Atlantis and having to all over again watch the horror all over again. It wasn't fun to watch the water come slap people, hear kids screaming, and I can't do anything at this point. It's going to be what it's going to be. And I don't want the waters to hit you people. I want you to be in a better place. I want you to go to the purgatory, and then I want you to go to the paradise. Because I always want you to go where Marcus is at. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, but you got to face your shit. You got to just go through your shit. As hard as it is, let's go through it. When the storm and you feel nobody can hear you, we hear you. We hear you. So please, you don't feel nobody else can hear you, they will hear you. Please understand that. And people do hear you. And if they don't want to hear you, somebody is hearing you. So please understand, somebody is hearing you. Your message is loud and clear. But for people waking up and feel you're spreading a message, people don't hear you, they do hear you. They will, and keep it up. People will start hearing you. I just fell under this illusion of my ego, but it was hurtful to watch all these people die in front of me. And maybe I'm not saying I'm a martyr or anything, but that's where I stuck myself, because I don't want nobody else to ever feel that hurt that I felt. And I still feel that. That was planet 2. That was planet 2. And I still carry that burden with me. And I'll probably always carry that. But I never want another human to ever feel that way. That is why I do what I do. That's why the girls do what they do. So please hate what Angie said. Is everything, even that there's spiritual punishments from these different things you have gone through, but you don't have to relive them. You don't have to relive them. That's why we do soul retrievals and energy work to help you. But you can do these things yourself. And that's what Raku's trying to teach Destiny. He don't want her to keep doing this. He wants her to do this herself with assistance. But he will ask for assistance if he feels, but it's for Destiny. Yeah. And that. So you all ever have a Virgil. Everybody's got the Virgil. You just got to listen to what Virgil says.
Absolutely. The 9th layer is treachery, and it had the betrayers in it. And I think this was the level that had Satan in the frozen lake. So everybody was just trapped in frozen water, unable to move, unable to do anything, just kind of stuck forever.
Does that sound like Atlantis?
Yeah. Yeah. After you just said all that, it's like, are you saying that because of Atlantis? Yeah. So it's like the end of the beginning of the narrow gate that they talk about in the Bible, like wide is the gate and the narrow is the people that choose it. And I was watching something yesterday. It was Scott was watching something on Bruce Lee, and they showed those Oriental buildings that get smaller as they go up, like the dojos and stuff. And I had no idea that that's how many people remain. So it starts as like a level of fighting or meditation, whatever it is, and then you lose people as you go up until there's whoever left at the top. And it's like, wow, that's so Dante's Inferno over here. Because again, this stuff, it is weeding you out. Are you strong enough to continue? Are you strong enough to face Satan? Are you strong enough to face the thing that you've been afraid of your whole entire life, your whole existence? Can you handle that? Can you move on from that and be better than it? But they had one thing I didn't like, they had Judas on this level. And can we clear up Judas for a second?
I'll have to bring Locaeus to do this one, okay, because Judas would deal more with what Locaeus,
okay,
not me. I'm Locaeus.
Hi, Locaeus.
All right, so let's clear Judas up.
If we can, I'd appreciate it.
All right, okay, so everybody, the original story behind Judas, reason Angie is saying it this way, is he was the one that threw Jesus under the bus for money. And that's not what happened. So please, this is going to be coming a little bit, but you're going to feel the truth in what I'm about to say. Y'all didn't know Jesus knew what was going to happen. He knew when he was going, and he asked for the Lord to take his cup. And if it's not going to be willing to be took, I understand. I got to go through with whatever. He knew. Everybody, please understand, his mom told him what was going to happen to him. She knew from the scenes to tell him. So both John knew and Jesus knew what their fates were going to be, but they willingly followed. They knew. The moms were told some hard truths about their sons. This wasn't something moms like to hear, but they always loved their moms to trust to the Lord. See, Jesus knew when he saw John, what happened to John, beheaded. I'm next. and the fate and the disciples being so, oh, that the fate, and he knew his was next. He knew his mom's always told him his fate. He always had his Virgil, always, and it wasn't always God. So please, it wasn't always. He had his own Virgil. He had his own, and it was time. So he had to go to one of his most confident men, and you will hear him in the Bible that he always trusted. He did say, now one will be betrayed, because he had to put it out there, somebody will betray me. But Judas had the hard task. Jesus went to him personally and said, I need you to go to the men and start this. Judas fought this. He did not want to do this. This is not something he took and he did with, okay, I get money out of this. He did not want to do this. Judas did not want to do this, but he did what Jesus asked him. Jesus said, you love me, Judas? He goes, yes, but my name will go on forever as this horrible being. And Jesus said, no, you will be in my kingdom for doing one of the hardest things. Your human name might always be, understandably, because he said humans always mess it up. They usually do. And he wasn't saying that you all do. He was just, he knows how the Pharisees would be. And that's what he meant by that comment, by the way. And he was just saying he understands people will take that and say Judas this and Judas that. But he said, your soul will not know this, because you'll be in such a higher depth of heaven, you'll never hear this. So he did one of the hardest things that Jesus asked him to do. Jesus did say, there's somebody among that's going to tell him, but he had to get it started. He had to get to, everybody knew this was going to happen. This was his destiny. His mom had told him this was his destiny. He knew this was it. He knew he had to get it going the way he did. And if you notice, Judas dies the way he dies, and he did die like this because he felt such guilt. People hated him. Even his own disciples hated him because we didn't know the whole truth behind it. When we go over here to talk to Jesus, he tells us, where's Judas at? Is he in hell like he rightfully should be? And he goes, no, he's right here. And we're like, well, he shouldn't be there. And then he explains to us, and he said, your judgment. He said, your judgment. Because what did I always teach you? Discernment. You didn't understand discernment. We were too busy focusing on the act that we didn't even look at the human. We didn't even feel the heart. We were just too busy showing our hate to him as well as the other people without even showing a little bit of looking. We just trusted what we heard. We didn't, if we had done any discernment, even you're hearing Cosmo, Simon Peter saying the same thing. We just did that. And Judas, by the way, has never been back. It hurt him too bad. His name is still out there, but you got to remember Jesus told him and reassured him, it won't matter. You're here with me in the kingdom. So this is Judas. This is what happened with Judas. So this, you're going to feel the truth behind it. But this was one of the hardest tasks that this man had to do. It was harder than anything I had to do, and harder than Simon Peter, any of our disciples. He was the one he trusted the most to do this act, to get this all started, because he knew from his mom this was going to happen. This is what had to happen.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you cleared it up, because it's always broken my heart. I read the Gospel of Judas, and it mentions that Jesus pulled him aside and asked him to do it, and he didn't want to do it. And that's in the book of Enoch, I think, mentioned it also.
Mhm.
And you really feel it. I feel it every time you talk about it. I feel it. Thank you for doing
you're
that.
very welcome.
So to get back to the Dante's Inferno, I guess at this point, it became the legs of Satan that you walk up to get back into the earth. And then it will lead us to the next story of the Purgatorio, which Locaeus will be our guide for the Purgatorio. And then the next Tuesday teaching, Marcus will be our guide for Paradise.
Absolutely. And this one, this is just what I do. And you'll notice once you've reached that, and I did want to mention, because Loki wanted to mention this, the three-headed monster was also representing the Trinity, the evil, the Trinity of the evil. And that was representing the threes, the 9 layers, everything is just representation, all numbers, representation of this, what Dante was trying to get.
Right, the whole story had a bunch of 3s and 9s in it. So, I mean, where's that at? So like the type of story, it was called like it was called a canta or whatever, and it had a lot of 3s and 9s and everything in it. So it was all structured the way spiritual text would be structured, which really leads you to believe that it was spiritually implanted in him. He experienced this. This was his spiritual journey that he wrote about for us. Jennifer said she did face Satan and won. Yes, you did. And it's not easy. And then we have to help other people try to do it too.
And we finally watched her collage she had been talking about. It brought us to tears, all of us individually.
Yeah.
You could see her journey, where she went, and the song she chose. Jennifer, you did. You fought and you won. And she was in all of theirs. But she's here now, and she can, you can, I watch it. We all just cried in our own individual, even Michelle, because we all could get it. But we love that she was vulnerable, and she put that for people to learn, like, look at this. You can go past all this. And she did. And she was not shy to say and sugarcoat anything. It's just the truth. This is my truth right here. And it was beautiful. And so she did, and she won.
Yep.
She won.
And again, this story was written in a political climate like ours. We need to wake up. We need to stop being Democrats and Republicans, because there's corruption in both of these systems. Both of these systems have problems. These systems aren't our solution. We are the solution, but we need to have our hearts on the right team here. Violence is not the way. We really need to check ourselves here. I feel like we are at the collapse of our society. We are at the potential collapse of our society, just like the Romans were. Again, we have Roman rule pretending to be God, and then you have God. And we still have that. People pretending to be God, saying they're God, getting your money for God. Hey, we're God. No, they are not. They are the wolves. They are the foxes. Pay attention to these things. Use your discernment. If someone tells you this person is a good religious man, but they're con artists and they're liars and they're shitty people and they don't treat people right, they're not. Someone's trying to get your money. They're trying to steer you on the wrong team.
Yes, and this Loki, and you're right. We need to have discernment in our society. Back when this was wrote, the same thing was going on in his life, and the same things. And I have said this before, and I feel it's worth mentioning again. Like Angie said, humans are the solution to the problems. Yeah. And you have to know discernment on your whatever, but they're not God. All they're doing is, I can't really get into your government because that's just something separate I will not get into, but like shootings and your guns, I'll say it again. Yes, there should be stricter on everything as this. I totally agree, but it all goes back to the human being. You can do all the strict stuff. Locaus, can I have him explain about the Constitution, about the guns, please? Just kind of straighten some stuff out, because he said this and it made the kids kind of think. So I feel Locaus should come in for this.
Sure.
All right, and this is me again, Locaus. I was a forefather, part of the Constitution. Now I would just on the guns, and I'm not just all I want to say about the guns, so you know where they came from. It was about the British, and the guns to us was a representation of our freedom. Guns did not represent what it now to what it meant then. So if you say the constitutional right says to bear arms, to us that was a proud thing, because it meant we defeated the British. That's what that meant for us. It does not mean the same as it does today. Everybody wants that constitution changed. I understand that, but for us it was a pride. We defeated them. Guns were not how they are used today. Guns were something of pride. We respected our weapon, and we knew, and I'm not saying everybody did. Now, please understand, we know that, but as the forefathers, that was our pride. We wanted everybody to have this right. Now, did we realize that people were going to change us 200 or something years later? No, we didn't. We were just in that time in the present. Maybe we should have actually looked at that more and said, that's going to be a problem later on, but there should be more, but it's always going to be back to the person. Even the forefathers knew it's always going to go back to the person, but I do agree. So if you all say about the Constitution and why did they say that, that's why. We felt pride. So I just want to make sure that when you understand things from the past, that was one of the reasons why. But you're right, Angela, it does go back to we as a society, it goes back to peace. Even then we knew the gun wasn't the answer, but it just brought us something that we did something against the British. And you got to remember, we didn't know this was going to be a thing.
Right.
This was leaving the colonies here fighting, and you didn't know if your family was going to be killed, what was going to happen, what were they going to do to you. You didn't know. Now, see, you're living that same fate now with the government. You don't know. So what is going to be your pride? What's not going to be the gun, because it represents something totally different. I feel now what's going to be your representation is you as humans going forth. This is the second coming of Christ right now. All of you carry this Holy Spirit within you. It was not a literal that he was going to come down and start teaching, because he would just get killed again. He's not going to do this again. This was all of us taking his word, knowing what he said, and let's walk as Jesus, and let's do what he preached to get people to wake up. He tried in his time, and he did wake people up. He planted that seed, and it's up to us to plant that seed for the generation. So like if Rome crumbled, is there a chance for this society to crumble? Absolutely there is. It all falls down. Yeah. We need to be able to understand that. Yeah. You know, so you're asking me, or what are you seeing? I can't say that, because of different vibrations. You can change all of this. Yeah. It doesn't have to go the way Atlantis went for like Loki. It don't have to go that way. So we are all like in this evolved spiritual enlightened for a reason, because as the Christ consciousness, that is him. He's hitting us to do the right things, go through our shadows of hell, or ninth hair, you know, and do this hell. We have to do the shadow work, but to understand where we stand with different issues, that will help you so much when you are going to vote for people you're going to vote. If you know discernment, what does this person feel like? Does this feel right? And yes, you should vote. That's your American right. You should vote, but know what you're doing and do it for how you feel. So the ninth layer will always help you feel discernment. It'll help you when you go do all of this stuff. It'll help you so much. And when you're in this feeling of hurt, when you know the word, whatever the word is to you, it'd be God's, the book of Enoch, whatever, Sri Krishna, Buddha, whatever words you hear that inspires you every single day, know those words. When the negative come and hit you, you have that word to go past, because you can't think two things at once. It could be positive or negative. So let's go do positive. Everybody, all you humans are going to experience it, yes, but it's up to you to go back to the love again and experience it all over again. That's what the divine wants, but you got to go through the Inferno to get to into the Purgatory to finally get to paradise. And that's all humans' existence. And those are Atlantis. So let's all try to do that. Let's go up the mountain together, blue heavens. We all want you all to go up the mountain together. You know, we don't want to go up the mountain, be there by ourselves and just kind of look down at you like, oh, we're already up here. What about you guys? No, we go as a group. Once you know something, we teach, we teach, we teach, we teach. That's why we don't go. We're in Shambhala right now. Yes, do we want to go home? Absolutely, we all want to go home. Loki hasn't been home. He wants to go home this time around. But see, we won't go home until we know the humans got it. We won't. And I don't care how long we're here. Even Jesus is still here. I think he would like to just kind of go, hey. But he loves the humans, and he wants everybody to get it as well, this information, and it'll bring truth to you. He wants you to ask questions. He wants you to meditate. He wants you to his Father and just be however. That's why the girls do what they do, and that's why we do what we do. And that, so I'm not trying to go over and over, but when I feel like I can feel that Raku, for example, he keeps saying things. I hear the guides. Please get on this. Please get on that. Please get on that. So I'm trying to get and please all the guides right now. So
I want to add something to that. Speaking of Raku, because he came to me, whatever day that was, and he told me to tell Destiny to calm down, not be overwhelmed. I dismissed it as ego. I was busy doing other things anyway. And later, my husband Scott reminded me of some of the times I felt during a spiritual awakening. I felt like everybody was trying to kill me. So Destiny, I'm sorry I did not send you a text telling you to calm down, because I forgot about how bad some of those awakening symptoms can be. Some of the nightmares were terrible. And again, I had a couple days, different days, that I'd look at someone and I could see them killing me. I could hear it, I could feel it. And it was petrifying. It was terrifying, especially no one else could hear it or see it or feel it. It was just me. And it's so hard to be in that spot. So if you were in a spot like that, I'm sorry. I will try not to let you down again like that. And if any of you are ever in that, the fear can be overwhelming, but you have got to know it will end. It's not going to end like that. God loves you. Again, you go through this inferno and then you go through the purgatory and then you get to paradise. There's always an ascension, an elevation. There's a way out. Keep trying to get out. You'll get out. Sometimes you'll get pulled back in. Remind yourself, this isn't the end. There's more. There's more up there. I'm going to continue climbing and keep freaking climbing.
Yep. And this is Loki, and absolutely just keep climbing. Fear is a very scary thing, and that can bring you down. You could be in a spiritual awakening, and to fear anything, it'll bring you completely. So absolutely. And it does. And I think that was Sunday you were getting that. And then yesterday she messaged, but that's also, but that's just, but see, Scott was there like your Virgil to remind you. Yes. See, to remind you that it's, not like he doesn't sit there and go, oh my God, it was a Virgil. So you can have a human Virgil as well, be right there to say, hey, you need to, this is what you need to do. But absolutely, that is a thing. And if you feel that is when you contact here, because when you're in that fearful state, you will not see, the delusions will start and everything. That's when it starts. And instead of working through this 9 layers that you just worked at with your onion, you don't want to have to go back and have to redo any and go here. So reach out. If you feel that this is happening, just reach out. Right.
Yeah, we'll help. Jennifer said her angels helped with the song, all for her montage. And thank you for feeling the message. Oh, yes. That's good.
It was beautiful. You felt her heart. You just felt her heart.
Destiny said she totally understands. It hasn't been that bad for her, but the nightmares she used to have came back last night. It has just left her feeling confused and frustrated.
Well, I can help. I know how to help her and that, but it's going to be, like that's, yeah. So Destiny, we are going to help you. I knew this was going to be, and that's why Raku, he's trying to help you through it. He just doesn't know, because guides know, like, he is a new guide and he just doesn't know how to help. He wants to help, but how do I help her? And he's just trying to find ways to communicate. And we'll talk about all that with her. We'll help her with, it's a session with, it's going to be like Raku, just how to help you, Destiny. And it'll be all right. It's just your 9 layers here. It is just addressing this. And this is what is going to help a lot of people, because it'll also hit on your nightmares. But when you're doing awakenings, you will have a lot of nightmares as well. But it's just understanding where it stands and stuff. But
it's so fun.
Yeah, Michelle had nightmares all last night too. And she told me, she woke up screaming, and it woke David up because, are you all right? So yes, it was fun.
Yeah.
But it was one of her 9 layers. The Inferno has made them both think. And the Inferno is making her deal with her stuff and just, her layers to get, and this was like, she was like over here on the Paradise, but there was stuff in here and Inferno she didn't want to deal with. Now we're making her deal with it and she don't want to. She's like in the angry spot and she's like, I just don't want to go past it. And we're like, you're going to have to, which it deepened her, gave her nightmares, because when you just stuff, because your body don't want to hold on to it anymore. Your body's saying, hey, come on, man, you're over here, but why do you want to go over here for? We don't want that. So that's kind of what's happening. But she's going through nightmares, pretty bad ones, and that's because you don't want to face it. But you have to face it. They will go away once you face it. Yeah.
She said that's the story of her life. She wants to help, but she doesn't know how. Yeah. And why is it so stinking hard? It weeds out people, that's for sure. More people would do it if it was a little easier, but it's rewarding. It's the most rewarding thing you can do.
And the other thing as well, you girls didn't know how to help people either. There was a time they had no idea this wasn't even a thing, and they were discussing how do we help people, and it was a thing. So you're going to get there, Destiny. So you just got to, just these little things they've had to go through, and they did. And you're going to go through these things as well. So know what we see for you is what we see for you. And like, look at Jennifer, for example, as well. I mean, she had no idea. If you watch her montage, you could tell but now she knows, and she's still going. So that's why we're doing a story on her and Destiny as well. Both of these ladies are going through this, and they're going to find a way to help people. And that, so Destiny, you're going to find your way. I see you with the TED Talks.
Yeah.
You got this, honey. I see it so much. And Raccoon knows that you've got this too. It's all going to come forth. And that's why we're here to help. And we'll in that. So please, we understand how to do it. We're helping Raccoon help you in that. So, and you'll get there.
Our next Tuesday teaching will be June 14th at noon, and we will continue with Dante's Purgatorio. And Lucas will be our Virgil.
He's going to be the Virgil. I was to, so thank you very much for letting me be today's Virgil. I loved it.
You made the greatest Virgil.
I know. You hear that, Lucas? You hear that, Marcus?
They gotta up their Virgil game.
They're going to up it. They'll up it. They'll up it. You know. I know. I'm trying not to be the ego.
Yeah.
You know, horns and fire. And I have to do a representation for Cosmo. Can I do a quick? This is going to make Marcus mad, but I got to do a quick for my son Cosmo.
Oh yeah.
It's a quick representation. But yeah, because he did a howling for me, so I felt I needed to do something. So he's in the back one. Yeah. But yes. But yes, I felt I was the great Virgil. Now, if we do votes, please vote Loki.
Sure. Yeah. At the end of this, we can see who was the best Virgil.
Oh no, it'll be Marcus. It won't be me. It'll be Marcus. It's always Marcus. It won't be me. Let's not do that, please. If I'm not going to be the winner, let's not put me. Are you guys?
Thank you all so much. You're very welcome. Again, we're glad that we can do this, that we were even able to do anything to help anybody through anything. It is a blessing because, again, it wasn't on my radar. It wasn't on Michelle's radar. And we just kind of stumbled our way through this, and it's been very difficult. And we don't want others to have such a hard time.
Right. And that's exactly it. And the Atlantis, the storm.
Yeah.
I don't ever anybody to ever have to experience that. And a lot of people go through that in their own storm, not being heard, and you're trying to get a message and they're not, you know, or even your message isn't getting across or something, and you feel you're in a storm and you don't know how to get past that storm. That's where I'm still at. But we don't want others to feel like you're stuck there. We don't ever want you to feel that. We want you to feel like loved, like you're supposed to feel in this realm. That is what he wants so bad for you, to be smiled. Because that's what I'm saying. When Marcus is Virgil, you see, you know, it's just, I'm not going to beat that. Lucaeus. Oh, Lucaeus here. Oh, I love that. Remember, I commented on that, Angela. When I first started coming around, I was so fascinated by that. I asked you, why does he do that? I was so fascinated by that. You told me that because remember when through and you couldn't get me because I'm sitting there watching that Jesus. I was like, and I'm still fascinated by that Jesus. So it still works for me.
Love that Jesus. All right.
Marcus through. I will bring Marcus through and hello. And yes, please, when after and I'm the Virgil, we can do votes. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But I hope everybody heard everything here. And I as well went through my 9 layers when I was human twice. Yes, one got discovered by her son. But yes, but I as well, when I was human, I had to go through these layers. It was very difficult. But, and see, hi, Cleo, how are you?
Okay. She needs a little love.
Yeah, she needs loving. Oh, I love Cleo.
You love. Oh, she loved it.
But I wish everybody just love and everybody be love, be that unconditional love, like Cleo, be that Cleo for somebody else today. Yeah, be that love as Cleo is today. Just be kissy.
All right. We've got another comment, Marcus.
All right.
Thank you for being, it's from Jennifer. Thank you for being there for others. I need help and understanding as well as teachers, and I was praying for assistance. And in walked Michelle into my work. It couldn't be more perfect. It's what you all want to do, and it is exactly what I needed. And the angels brought you to me. Oh, that's awesome.
I love that. Well, for the record, it took Michelle. We kept telling her, say something to her, say something to her. So yes,
Yeah.
and she felt like the same thing, like with Angie saying something about to Destiny. Same thing. Michelle goes, well, what am I going to say? And Loki said, come on on her necklace. Just come on and do it. And because we were afraid you were just not going to come back. So that's why I said, do it now, because we could feel your guides. We felt your guides loud and clear. It was just getting the human here to act on that. And as soon as you said, I'm looking for a teacher, we go, see, we know what we're talking about, So we loved your jewelry. That's what we kept staring at her jewelry. She had the beautiful jewelry. You're staring at her jewelry. But of course, she's wearing all her stuff as well. But yeah, we love Jennifer's jewelry. But yes, her guides were saying, hey, and it was beautiful. So, but yeah, we love everybody and helping, and we love doing what we do.
We do. Thank you for joining us today, Miss Cleo. And thank you all for joining us today.
Well, I'll let Angie, you and Cleo continue in that, and we'll just end it on this.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I hope everybody gets love like Cleo just gave me some love, because that was intense. And I feel a lot better, and she did fill me with love. I smell like dog food now, but it was worth it because she is adorable.
It's divine dog food. It's scent of love.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
All right. Thank y'all for joining us. We do have a Thursday live this Thursday on the 2nd. So you can come join us for that. That'll be at 7 o'clock. And I'm sure it'll be hoot and a half. Right?
Oh, it will be. Yeah. It'll be it's always a hoot and a half.
Try to entertain everybody before we go on vacation.
Absolutely.
So come join us. We love you. Destiny said, laugh out loud, divine doggy dibbles. New dog food brand. I like divine doggy dibbles.
I like that. I think that should be one.
It's got to smell good.
Yes, it should. It should.
Smell good, like roses or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or like Locaeus is saying, like Fritos and cheese or something.
Well, now that's my love language. Fritos and cheese is my love.
I smell like Fritos and cheese love. I like this kind of love.
Double divine doggy dibbles.
I think it sounds great.
We love y'all. We will see you in our next video.